JB Cycles with an update on June the 25th. A bit late this video this weekend, so I will run through this quickly. My 4-week cycle in black here. We see current position. We are in the topping phase, and the cycle is bearish into July the 10th. And we have a possible similar setup as going back to February. So we had a very bullish, right translated 4-week cycle, almost no real pullback in this bearish phase, and we had a pop with the next 4-week cycle, and we may have a very bearish left translated 4-week cycle, or you could call it 2 cycles merging into 1 cycle, and you have the top around the low here. We see similar here. So we could see a pop up here early the coming week, similar to here, and then continuation into around July the 10th. And then the question is, if we get down into around 4,200 perhaps, will we then rally and break out, or is it just a bounce B in the bigger A, B, C correction going down into August? So let's look at other things. This looking at my wavelets, this absolutely looks like a daily sell signal, a sell signal in the daily data. We have momentum topping out at a very high level, so definitely a daily sell signal, yet to be really confirmed by breaking moving averages. And the question is, how will this sell signal play out? Will we have will we see the market gapping up and making this a more sideways consolidating phase, or do we see real bearish action? That's yet to be seen. Quick look, here are some wavelets for the VIX, but I don't show the VIX here, I show the S&P. But it's a very similar situation. We have well, these wavelets are inverted, so for VIX they are going down. That means VIX is going up, and the S&P is probably going down. So the same story, we do see the same story there. Bigger picture, so we have broken out of the 40-week offset, so everything points to a new bull market, but I still expect some kind of a correction down here. Looking in green here, I have my 40-week cycle, and within it a 20-week cycle. The red lines are 20-week cycle lows, and we are expecting a 20-week and a 40-week cycle low around sometime August, September. So we should see some kind of a pullback here, but it's still possible that it isn't a new bull market, and we go down to this trend line bounce, and then we break down, and we could have a low around October. But I don't see us going to lower lows, but we still could go pretty deep here, possible. But everything points to a new bull market, so I wouldn't expect that. Looking at my 3 cycles and the composite, you know, it is about to turn up here, very bullish. So here we have a different kind of signal. But I was speculating. If you look at this is the S&P, and it looks like we are shifted compared with this composite. And if that's the case, you know, then we could be here. But that's pure speculation. I don't have much experience in seeing that kind of action, that kind of pattern. So the cycles are actually here about to turn up. So yeah, I'm not a bit conflicting signals from these cycles. The seasonal variation, it has a low late in June and bullish into mid-July, and then possibly bearish into October. But so the bearish scenario here would be pointed in red, some kind of a dip down, perhaps a double top, and then some bearish action. But a new bull market would favor a mild pullback here, and then a real breakout rally. Hourly data. So we seem to be rather oversold. Not really oversold, you know. We have just topped out in momentum, and we are far away from being very oversold. But you know, that could happen in a couple of weeks. But very short term, these wavelets seem to indicate an oversold situation. Could still gap down on Monday, but looks like there should be some kind of an upswing here. And possibly if we put in this 2 week, that would probably have a low around July the 10th. So some kind of a reaction coming soon up here. And you know, in the bullish scenario, where this is not a bearish correction, it's a more sideways, then we could go all the way up and make a double top. But in the bearish case, we should see perhaps a little bit more downside and just a shoulder, and then a real continuation to the downside. I'm switching over to the Norwegian market, and here I think this cycle composite has worked better than for the S&P, but we haven't played out this bearish scenario I was looking for. And looks like we are very close to some kind of a low here in the composite, and we have an interesting triangle situation here. So maybe a little bit more downside, and then if we don't break down, we could, you know, pop up and have a breakout, or it fails, we stay within the triangle, and maybe we break down and have a lower around October. And a bit longer term for the Norwegian index. Here I have the 40-week cycle for the Norwegian index, and I have a wavelet showing the 40-week cycle. And I could mention sometimes we have two cycles merging into one, as we see here, and we have a typical topping formation in the 3.5-year cycle. You see, well, if you go back to 2014-15, we have had a top in the 40-week cycle, didn't crash down, even made a higher high in the next 40-week cycle, and then we had the bear market. And it was a little bit strange bear market, because this was a bit earlier low, and we actually made a low a bit out of phase with the cycle. And this was the first top, 40-week cycle high, didn't really crash down. The next top in the 40-week cycle, making some kind of a triangle. The next low didn't really crash down, and this was quite unusual. It looked like we had a bullish breakout, but we had a top in the next 40-week cycle, and then we crashed. 2011-12, well, that was kind of a bullish, more consolidating cycle low. Here we have 2007-8. We see here was the 40-week cycle high into late 2007. We did crash a little bit down, but made a double top in 2008, and then at the next cycle low, or the final one, we really crashed. So current situation, the first 40-week cycle high was in 2022. Here we are at the next 40-week cycle high. It was a lower high. We are making some kind of a triangle formation here. So we are approaching this 40-week cycle low. You know, I would expect some weakness here with a possible breakdown. But yeah, we have to see. See you next week.